there's other strategies that you can do besides cold calling.
It doesn't matter. You can talk to some of the best salespeople, people that are selling from inbound stuff.
I would say with social media, the first thing that you've got to do is you've got to look at your social media profile.
Everybody just wants these like automatic Zillow leads that are just like ready to go, ready to roll. And it's like, guess what? That was a couple years ago. That don't work that way anymore.
Agents are so afraid of picking up the phone. Mm-hmm. And I think the challenge is people they're freaking wimps. Let's put that in there. Just pick up the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, so before we get into some strategies about how to get clients without cold calling, the first thing is you've got to use your phone.
Yep.
You're in sales.
Yes.
So the idea of avoiding conversations with people you don't know, first, we just got to get past that, because real estate is all about finding people you don't know, mm-hmm. getting to know them, mm-hmm. so that they will choose you to help them with their next real estate transaction.
Absolutely.
So at a minimum, people have got to get past the whole idea of, how do I avoid talking to someone? How do I create a 100% inbound marketing strategy? Because at the end of the day, even those inbound leads that we're going to talk about and help people generate, at some point you still have to pick up the phone and have a conversation with somebody who you don't know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So,
yep. No, I think the phone, like, it doesn't matter. You can talk to some of the best salespeople, people that are selling from inbound stuff. Like, at the end of the day, if you're not willing to pick up the phone, none of that's going to help you. So the assumption for everything we're talking about is you're willing to get on the phone.
Right.
Like, that has to be happening.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I see a lot of agents not understand is that attention is one of the most scarce resources that any of us have right now. Like, we all feel it. The notifications just rolling through our phone every day, our email inbox is being so busy. And you've got to recognize that all of these potential sellers, all these potential buyers are also feeling that same thing. And so you have to get good at getting their attention. And that often means you've got to try some new stuff and some unconventional things to get in front of them.
Yeah.
So I'll just give you one example. You've got to be making social media content to get in front of buyers and sellers. And what's really awesome right now is, I just got back from a big influencer convention with YouTubers, and the talk of the day was the death of the follower. This idea that followers do not matter as much. And the reason why is because the platforms are putting and recommending people's content to viewers that have that pain point. So if you're an agent and you want to find buyers and sellers, make content that those people will care about. And guess what? The platform is going to recommend it for you. You'll get in front of those people. So you've got to be willing to put yourself out there, both on the phone and on camera, to find those people.
Yeah. I think there's other strategies that you can do besides cold calling. Cold calling is when someone is trying to contact someone and neither party knows the other person. Mm-hmm. That's a cold call or a cold prospect. You can warm up the prospect with marketing. If they know who you are, right, and you call them, it's no longer a cold call. It's a warm call, mm-hmm. right? It's a warm prospect because they know who you are. And that's the power of social media. That's the power of being able to get your content and your stuff in front of people before you ever attempt to have that conversation with them, mm-hmm. is that they will know who you are, what you represent, maybe even the values. They'll even have an idea if they would be good working with you or not. Mm-hmm. And if they know that, then the call isn't cold. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't just have to be a cold call. You may not have to pick up the phone and cold call. You mm-hmm. could knock on their door, or you could send them a postcard, or you could try that inbound marketing strategy, get them to call you. But either way, you're going to have a conversation with them at some point, and you don't want that conversation to be cold. Mm-hmm. You want them warmed up to who you are and what you're about.
Absolutely. I heard someone make a comment recently of like, the person that gives the most value is the person that will win with their marketing, right? And so you got to be thinking about this, whether it's calling or content or whatever. You got to be thinking, how do I show up for these potential leads in ways that other people won't? And I think one of the things as an agent that it's very common to feel is you hear people talking about all the different lead types you can work and all the different prospecting methods, and you get this feeling of overwhelm, like, if I can't do it perfect, I'm just not going to do it at all. And you've got to get that thought out of your head. You've got to just start with one call, start with one video, just do one thing and start building momentum so that you actually can start seeing what works. Too much of the time agents are like, oh, I tried calling one day. I made one social media video and I didn't go viral. I didn't get any leads. And then they act like, oh man, this is stupid. Why would I ever try this? You're not giving yourself enough momentum to actually see results. So you've got to just stop giving yourself excuses, stop being afraid, and start being consistent. That's when the leads will start coming, is when you consistently show up for your audience.
I think most agents, though, they hear this and they go, okay, but now what? like, yeah, I got to make one video, but that's not tactical. It's not, it's not low enough down in the trenches for me to understand what do I do. And so I would say with social media, the first thing that you've got to do is you've got to look at your social media profile. How do you show up on social media? I would start with your accounts. What is your title? What is your profile pic? What is your description? Have you even maximized a profile if somebody's going to look you up and do that? That would be step one on social media, is just pick a platform. And you're not going to go wrong with Facebook and Instagram. I know there's a lot of other platforms that are all the trend right now, but your biggest buying and selling demographics still live on Meta. They're still on Facebook and they're still on Instagram. So go look at your profiles there and just do a little bit to clean up your profile so that if somebody finds your profile, they know who you are, how you help, and what you're all about.
Yep. I was actually talking recently to an Instagram coach who's really emphasizing this idea of Instagram and Facebook SEO. And what you've got to recognize is whatever you put in your bio, whatever you put on your profile, that is part of the data that Meta is using to decide whether or not to recommend your content to people. So if you want your content to be seen by buyers and sellers, well, your bio better say something about need help moving, right? Because now everyone that's looking at content about moving is going to have your content get recommended to them, right? So you've got to be doing these things where you can be giving those signals to not only people, but these AI algorithms so that your content is going to get recommended to the right people.
I think if we're switching gears from social media, because that can be overwhelming, and you've got an agent out there that's going, I don't want to pick up the phone, which is crazy, you should, but I don't want to pick up the phone. We've done this study over and over. You and I have talked about this many times, but agents who do over $250,000 a year in GCI, 58% of them still go out and knock doors. And the reason is because, this is a relationship business. Real estate is an emotional journey for a buyer or seller. And we as humans want human interaction when emotions get high. That's how it is. And so it doesn't matter the age or the demographic, people still want emotional human connection. And so when you're out knocking on doors, and maybe not just canvassing a neighborhood, but maybe you go out and you get a list of for sale by owner properties, and you go knock on their door and you just ask them, how's it going? Are you showing the property? And if you come up from a place of authenticity, right? If you come from a place that says, yeah, it's tough for us right now in our market, right? Last year was the slowest year in real estate since 1995, and this year is looking worse. Right? Go knock on a FSBO's door and say that and say, so what are you doing? Is anything working? And just start to build a relationship. And that can turn into business.
Yep. 100%. I think everybody just wants these like automatic Zillow leads that are just like ready to go, ready to roll. And it's like, guess what? That was a couple years ago. That don't work that way anymore. Right. So if you're not in this to really build those relationships and really find solutions for people, you're going to have a harder and harder time to find business. And the reality is as you actually help people work through their transactions, they are going to be your best source of new business, right? You've got to be working those deals, and it's not just waiting for them to do something. It's doing geo leads. It's going and finding those listings and letting people know, hey, we just had an awesome transaction here. Have you thought about buying or selling, right? Is there something going on in your life where this makes sense? You've got to be approaching it from those new ways, because you've got to be doing the stuff that other agents aren't willing to do. And most agents are not willing to do that.
I got it. I'm going to make a statement. Open houses are coming back, and those that choose to really embrace the open house are going to crush it in the new post-NAR settlement world. And the reason is because homeowners can tour a property without a buyer's agency agreement at an open house. I can meet an agent at an open house and tour the property with them without a buyer's agency agreement. And so when you start to look at the consumer side of what people are doing in today's market with what consumers are going to have to go through, and I see constantly my Facebook feed and Instagram is full of reels with coaches and trainers and gurus trying to give scripts to get buyers to embrace this new law that requires them to sign a buyer's agency agreement. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't want to get married before they date. And so then we resort to compromising on our buyer's agency agreement, which is, well, it's just for a day. So if we don't want to do anything, that's fine. But you're still starting out with this rigid, litigious, relationship. But at an open house, you can meet people. And if you do a good job of collecting all of their information, then when you hold another open house, you invite all of the same buyers. And now they're seeing you for a second time. And then you meet them again and you see them for a third time. And yeah, some of them will sign a buyer's agency agreement. But I know an agent right now who has nearly 700 potential buyers just from open houses this year.
Wow.
And she, sells the same demographic house. She holds open houses for other listing agents in her brokerage. And she continually invites those people. Well, anytime they come and they start to get serious, she signs a buyer's agency agreement with them. And it's really easy. Why? Because they've dated several times. They've seen her over and over at these open houses.
Right.
And so if you want to build a business without cold calling, you want to build a business, even if you still wanted to build a buyer's business, the way to do that is open houses.
So smart. There are so many real estate agents that forget to call their parents regularly or forget to call their kids regularly. And if you're forgetting that, I guarantee you are forgetting to call your past transactions regularly. If you have been in this business and you have people you've done deals with, you need to make sure that you are following up and checking in with those people that have done business with you. If they've already done business with you, there is no reason that you should be losing those deals to another agent. And I promise you, you are, if you are not doing this. So just stop telling yourself, oh, I do that because there's the one person that you talk to regularly because he's your buddy. And so you talk to him already. Who are the people you don't talk to regularly that you don't have a transaction with? You need to be talking to them on a consistent, regular basis. And you're not.
There's deals in your phone right now with contacts in your phone, and you should be pulling them up and calling them on a regular basis because somebody either is in the middle of a transaction or getting ready to do a transaction, or they know somebody who is. Statistically, people move within 10 minutes of their friends, family, or their work, so their coworkers. So people who are moving in the neighborhood, the neighbors know about it. And so you need to be calling those people so that you can get that repeat and referral business.
Absolutely.
A common question is how do I get business without having to cold call or pick up the phone or prospect or any of those things, which I think is a great question to add marketing into your business, right? Prospect-based, prospecting being the act of going out and trying to find business, whether it's with the phone or door knocking or marketing activities, and then marketing that supports that. I think it's a good question. The challenge is I see so many people give advice like, well, take your budget and go out and have coffee with people on a regular basis. That might be good for you. I don't know how many times you got to buy a $7 latte at Starbucks before you get a referral, but here's maybe something to consider is that a list of expireds, 34% of them will relist with a new agent within 30 days. 34%. I don't think 34% of your sphere of influence is going to relist. Right?
Yep.
40% of landlords of vacant rentals, we call them for rent by owners because they're being rented out by the owner of the property, not a property management company. 40% end up listing their home with an agent. FSBOs, this stat has been, given by NAR year after year after year. Between 8 and 9 of them will end up using an agent to help them sell their home. So you look at those lists, there's not a lead generation company out there that can provide a list of people with that high of closing rates, right? Most internet leads, NAR did a whole research thing on internet leads, 0.02% closing rate over a 14 to 24 month sales cycle. That's crazy, right? Versus a list of expireds, 34% of them in your marketplace right now. So do me a favor, go pull up your MLS and look at how many people expired on the first of the month. And think, wow, there's 34% of those that are going to choose a new agent. this month. So the question is, yeah, maybe you don't want to cold call that list. Great. But there is a lot of other marketing activities that you could and should be doing to maximize the amount of people who are going to relist from foreclosures or pre-foreclosures, right? FSBOs, FRBOs, for rent by owners, the expireds, the canceled withdrawals. There's a high percentage that you should be doing something to try to get the attention of those people before you write that off as cold calling.
Mm-hmm.
You can work those high closing, high intent sellers without cold calling in a lot of different ways.
Yep. Stop the shopping cart ads, stop the billboard ads, and start marketing to leads that have a high intent of actually doing business, right? Too many agents are like, I've seen marketing done like this before. And you've got to think through, yeah, but like, what's the statistical chance of someone seeing that and actually turning into a deal? You've got to be going after the people that have the highest chance of giving you a return on the investment. And you could go spend $2,000 on a billboard or $1,000 on shopping cart ads, or you could spend less than $100 and actually get in front of the right people who are actually looking to do a deal. There's also sign spinning on the street.
Oh, we call that ballyhoo marketing. Yeah, ballyhoo. Yeah, you can look it up. Google
Never
the definition.
Heard this before.
Is like in your face, super obvious marketing. So yeah, the guy that stands on the corner with the open house arrow, dancing and spinning signs. That's like ballyhoo marketing.
Okay, some other unconventional marketing approaches you could take. You could take yard signs and you could just put them in front of people's houses.
Just
like here, it's already there.
Yeah, find the best house in the neighborhood just to get sign calls.
Yeah,
it's not for sale, but can I just put this here so I can
let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just
don't do that.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, but I mean that's not illegal.
No,
it's not illegal.
No, I mean it's not illegal. In fact, there's a lot of agents out there that don't know how to price a home correctly that are just doing that. They're just overpricing a home that's never going to sell, so they can get some sign calls.
Other thing you could do like a wrap on your car, and you can just start parking your car and working from your car in the neighborhoods you want to get a listing in. That feels like it could work.
That could work.
Wrap's probably expensive.
Yeah, it's not the wrap that's expensive. It's the insurance that goes up because now people are
it's
more
a
likely to
vehicle.
sue a business than they are an individual.
Yeah,
So,
probably get loitering tickets too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're down in Southern California, you got those planes that fly by with restaurant ads.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In fact, I was vacationing in Destin, Florida, and some crab shack kept flying by, and I thought, man, maybe an agent can throw their phone number up there.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else? I mean, this is totally unconventional, but hear me out. What if you sponsored local school plays?
Or try this on.
Okay.
Just make a video that talks about why homes aren't selling,
Oh yeah.
and then target expireds, FSBOs, people who are actively trying to sell. Maybe you could just,
What?
instead of working so hard to figure out how to not pick up the phone, just pick up the phone.
Yeah, that's the
Call
other
a list of
option.
people that has a 40 to 80% close ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Why not do that?
Okay. You said LinkedIn though. I'm just trying to think through how that would work if you were an agent. Because the problem is I mean, maybe property manage. Like, trying to think who you would like look for on LinkedIn. Because it's not like I don't put homeowner in my LinkedIn bio. So it's like you go look at property managers. You go look at I don't know. I'm trying to think of the LinkedIn approach for an agent.
If you are an agent that has figured out how to get deals from LinkedIn, we would love to chat with you and talk to you.
Yes.
Because we have met literally no one in 22 years of doing business, working with hundreds of thousands of agents that has cracked that code. So if there's a code to be cracked there, we'd love to hear about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Otherwise, don't waste your time on LinkedIn,
Big true.
right? Unless it's a brand play. Like LinkedIn to me is a brand play.
Yeah.
Because there's so many businesses there, business owners there, right? And you got to play into the ecosystem. So you're not just an agent, you're like the CEO of Connor Real Estate because you want CEO in your title there because that's who you want to connect with is like-minded people. If you're just contributing to conversations of local people and eventually that comes up, that's a great networking strategy.
Yeah, but it's a top of funnel brand play.
Yeah.
Yep.
If agents, like most agents right now, I mean, 70% of agents haven't done a deal this year by September.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Don't spend your time there.
So if you haven't done a deal and you need it now business, you have to work leads that are trying to list right now, right? You always want to work that mid long-term database play where you constantly have people because that's how you get more predictive over time. But if you need now business, you got to work now leads.
Yep.
And that goes back to the ones that are the highest converting.
Yep. That's the kind of thing where it's like, I'm so busy doing deals now, I got to do stuff to keep the pipeline full later. But if you're not doing deals now, that's the problem to solve.
Right.
Not how do you keep the pipeline full later.
Right.
The pipeline's not full now.
Yep.
Well, that's a wrap. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Until next time, we're your friendly hosts, Curtis Fenn and Connor Snyder, wishing you a wonderful, happy day and happy prospecting.
And start prospecting. The way to do that is open houses.
So smart. So smart. There's also sign spinning on the street.
Oh, we call that ballyhoo marketing. Yeah, ballyhoo. Yeah, you can look it up. Google the
Never heard
definition.
this before. You could take yard signs and you could just put them in front of people's houses.
Just
like here, it's already there.
Yeah, find the